It just feels different. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been at the helm here on this program for like 7 years, and we've been doing this segment for 7 years called City Hall, right? And the administration in power had been great. They said, hey, we'll send someone to you every week so we can have an open line communication with citizens, right? And for those 7 years, it's been Projet Montréal. Lo and behold, boy, it feels different right now because we're having our first City Hall segment with the new administration, the new kids on the block. Ensemble Montréal, of course, is the new administration. Soraya Martinez-Ferrada is our new mayor of the city. And Leslie Roberts is now a city councillor. He won on election day. You know him and love him because before I was sitting in this chair, he was sitting in this chair. And he's here. It feels different, Leslie. I got to be very honest. Just the whole vibe right now.
I'm happy to hear that because it is very different. So thanks, first of all, for welcoming me back and in the new capacity. And I'm very excited to be here to share what we're doing in these early days.
And so happy that we can continue these segments with the team at Ensemble Montréal. And I think you're going to be at the forefront of the people that are showing up here in this segment.
Perfect.
Because you have a lot on your plate that relates to our listeners, right? So you are responsible for the English-speaking community, right? You're an associate councillor on the executive committee on that front.
Correct.
Can you tell me what else is on the plate? You've got this big plate. You got a meal in front of you.
Yes.
Maybe what's the main course? What are the side dishes? How do you view all the responsibilities you have?
I think it's widespread. They're all equal to me. The universities and higher learning, which is a hot potato right now for obvious reasons. The responsible for the downtown core, which makes sense given that Peter McGill, my district, is the heart of the city, which is something that I very much want to be a part of and learning a lot about what the challenges are. Aside from that, I'm on a couple of commissions, public security, housing and urban development. And so it's an opportunity because of where I am in the city and the importance of the downtown core to have a say on the issues that touch not just where I am, but across the city.
So I just want to touch on a couple things that seem like maybe something is at least a little bit different or the way it's going to be handled is a little bit different. I'll start off with bike paths because I know a lot of our listeners care.
Yeah.
And
so do we, by the way.
And you care as well. There's that one little change that was made in Outremont where they decided, the pilot project from last year, we're not going to go ahead this year. We're going to remove a small portion of a bike path for the winter time.
Correct.
And then there's this other bike path, this temporary bike path on Adadagan, right?
Adadagan, yeah.
Yes, please, with the pronunciation there. Fantastic. And you're looking at right away. People are unhappy about it. You're looking at it right away. So is that a sign of what's to come here on bike lanes?
So let me give you a little background there. Yeah. So that was a bike path that was created without consultation. And at the Borough Council meeting a few nights ago, we heard from residents. We heard, most importantly, from business owners who are suffering big time because that was put in there. They learned about it day one of construction.
Who put it in?
The previous administration.
Okay.
The reason why, don't get me wrong, is because they're doing construction right now in Barrie where there is an existing bike path and they needed an alternative during the construction, which could take a couple of years. But lo and behold, they did this. And as the businesses and residents will tell you, without asking anything from them. Gotcha. The good news is we heard from them. We heard them loudly. And as Soraya, the mayor, said, it's important to understand that we have a balancing act here. It's a hot potato, obviously. We hear them, but you also have to worry about the safety of the cyclist, right? You can't compromise one for the other. I will say this. Within the next 24 to 48 hours, the mayor will announce a compromise that I think all parties will be happy with.
Okay, on that particular bike path in the heart of
This is how fast we're acting. We heard, she consulted, the team was on it, and we have a compromise solution because we have to take both the concerns of both the cyclist and the residents and business owners into consideration.
Is there a sense of urgency right now on you on a whole bunch of things?
Yeah.
It seems like you're trying to hit the ground running here. The administration is. Do you have a sense of urgency?
It's not a sense of urgency. It's a desire to, after consulting and listening, to act. So there are 10 priorities in the first 100 days. Cyclists, that one in particular is an important one. Homelessness is number one. Soraya does not want to see those experiencing homeless to have to spend another winter outside if possible. We are tripling the budget on the homelessness file. I'll give you a great example because people are saying, where are you getting the money?
Yeah.
Chameleon Hood, that project, which as you know, was to close Chameleon Hood under Projet Montréal.
Yeah. Do I ever? Yeah.
Yeah. We're not doing that, but there's almost $100 million earmarked for that project. That money will now be reallocated instantly into this homelessness file. So it's not more money being spent by Montrealers. It's just moving onto a different budget.
Okay, so I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So this is like, the $100 million on redoing Kemen-Ud.
It's not quite $100 billion, but it's big numbers.
Yeah, big number. And now that's the decisions you're making. You're moving these chess pieces here.
Correct.
That money is going to homelessness. Okay, with that in mind, we have a story about a homeless encampment in Montreal North. Yeah. Okay, so people who live in this homeless encampment say that the city's blue collar workers came in, dismantled the site without any warning. They say workers were driving trucks and plowing through the encampment and destroyed everything in its path. I'm looking at one story in La Presse, and photographers, I get what they're trying to do here, and boy, does it make you feel bad for these people, right? Yeah. They've got the close-up photo of the box of pasta that's been destroyed and sad faces, right? So what happened here? Is this a change in
It was a mistake. Elias, it was a mistake. Christine Black, who's the mayor and part of the Ensemble de Montréal team, made it quite clear that was not what was supposed to happen. As you may know, from time to time, there are cleanups of encampments or of alleys where there are issues. This was an overreach. I think there was a miscommunication, whatever. We are quite clear that Soraya has said throughout the campaign that we will not go in there and dismantle the large encampments per se. We are already meeting with the other levels of government, looking for expertise and put into place a proper protocol, which would include not only the blue-collar crews, you would have social workers, you would also have security in terms of the SPVM, so that it is done properly, so that there are resources, places for them to go, places for them to eat, and it's a question of safety, right?
But are there some people who are in these encampments that don't want to go anywhere
yes.
else? They like living in these encampments.
I don't know if they like it. They don't want to be helped. I think, and I mean, there are various levels of homelessness, as we know. With those people, you can only provide the services that you want, and more importantly, the focus on the mental health and social resources will be focused specifically on those who are a bit of a challenge.
And I know this is important for you in your district in Peter McGill, and obviously it's a citywide problem here. And I kind of reference this when the La Presse story and the photos that are chosen, the images, right? It's sort of to pull on the sort of the heartstrings here, because I feel that everyone has empathy, right? But what's lost in this is the families that live, the taxpayers, the citizens that live near these encampments that feel less safe. There's no photos of that family that doesn't go outside anymore. It doesn't go to a park. It doesn't go to that, right?
Yeah.
So to me, I want to kind of get to like what do you have for those people that live in? You go down Notre Dame, like right here. You go Notre Dame, head east towards Olympic Stadium.
Soraya drives by that every day on her way to work,
right?
Yeah.
So I'm wondering about what about the other side of this? Like I left downtown, right? I was living on Vigée.
Yeah.
I left downtown.
Come back, Elias.
But one of the reasons I left was because the park had encampments.
Yeah.
Like,
you talking about Cabot Square?
It was Vigée.
Okay.
Vigée Park.
Yep.
So like that was one of the reasons. Like, what do you have for the citizen that no longer feels as safe and no longer uses the things like our parks because of these encampments? How do you? Yeah.
I'll take it one step further. Also, fear in the metro. We saw the report this week that shows that crime is up in the metro. Yeah. They're all interconnected here. We've had a doubling of our homeless population in the last 5 years. We have not doubled the services to help those communities or look at more public security. As a member of the Public Security Commission, it's part of what I look forward to being responsible for. Last night, I met with residents in Peter McGill, as well as that live right on Tupper, as well as members of the Shaughnessy Village. I had two meetings.
What'd they say to you?
Well, you can imagine. They said, we don't feel safe in our neighborhood. We also had the commander for Post 12, I'm speaking in French here, Station 12, which is actually in Westmount. It's right behind City Hall, which is responsible up to Guy Street. She was there. There was the head of the drug squad from Centre Sud, and then there were a number of officers who are on the beat, who they are well known. What I can tell you is that there is this open now line of communication to have the commander there, to have me there, and to have the residents there. This is something we want to do more. The commander was very open, listened, took notes, understood the concerns, but also readdressed, because there are a lot of police operations that are going on there that you don't hear about. The arrest of drug dealers, which are some of the concerns that are raised, that they're not made publicly, but she wanted to reassure the commander did, that they're on it, they understand it. Part of the problem is that at that station, after 1 a.m., the responsibility of the downtown core goes to the other station, which is further down St. Catherine Street. So there are perhaps fewer resources at a time when we... So I would like to see more. I would like to see more specifically to address these issues overnight.
Do you have more time for us?
Of course,
you do? Okay, so we'll do traffic, and then Leslie's going to stick around. We'll have more with Leslie Roberts. Good way to start off our City Hall segment with the new administration. Now, all right, we're back here on the Elias Macko Show, and we have supersized our City Hall segment, which we didn't do with the old administration, I can tell you that much.
I'll take that as a win.
Take that with Leslie Roberts is that familiar voice you're hearing, has a lot of roles in this new administration, including relationships with English-speaking Montreal.
Can I address that?
Yeah.
One of the things that was very important to me, and I heard it throughout the campaign as I went door to door in my district, which is there's a lot of Anglophones who live in Peter McGill. Yeah. They don't feel welcome at City Hall. They don't feel represented. And I think during the campaign, I told you the story that I was trying to pay my taxes a few years ago. I went to City Hall and I had a question about something on there, and the woman refused to speak to me in English.
Oh boy!
We know under the law that we are a francophone city. We respect it. Yeah. Well, we do have the right to services. The Guide des Anglos, which they had, or Comment parler avec des Anglos, was an overreach. Soraya at the swearing in made a point to say that we, as the English community, to my English speaking community, she said, that we helped build the city, we are part of this city, and that we can count on her. Being appointed this role as an Anglophone, and that was one of the things she said to me when she came to recruit me, is that she sees the importance of the English community in the Francophone city that we have here, and we all agree we're here for a reason. We love the city. That she wanted that at the table.
The scenario that you outlined, that you lived yourself, right?
Yeah.
You go to the counter and someone just will not speak to you in English or won't answer your question in English, right?
How do we feel welcome there?
Yeah,
we really don't.
But can you then say, hey, listen, I understand you don't speak English. Can you find someone who's like, do you have a right to ask for that? Like, how is it supposed to work if you need an answer in English?
Yeah. My first reaction that day was to get angry, and then my second reaction was, okay, let's just talk human to human here, comme Montréalais, right? Yeah. And I literally said, can we do this? And I eventually found somebody, but it was the initial moment there where I got the pushback. So I would say yes, absolutely. But more importantly, I think it needs to be clear because of the laws that are in place, so that not only we know, but also the people who work at the City Hall, who work for us as taxpayers, that in something these days includes me, reinforces our rights under the law.
Okay, well, we'll see, listen, on that front, like on the language front, the best news is no news.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, that's how we
less is more.
The story of, hey, I want to have a book club meeting for my LGBTQ group, and it's in English.
Yeah.
Oh, and remember, it was the Quebec government who said, what are you guys doing? Of course they're allowed to have this meeting. Yeah. So less news about this. I'll be so happy if we spend 4 years and there's not a story to talk about when it comes to this. I just want to get back to one thing that you were talking about before. We were talking about public security, and of course, that's also on your plate here. You were mentioning, the police, they're arresting drug dealers. They're doing these operations. My concern is not the police arresting the drug dealers. They're doing that. It's those drug dealers, they get arrested, and then the criminal justice system spits them right back out. And I wonder if the mayor of Montreal and the administration knew, if we're actually seeing that, if we see someone arrested on Tuesday, out on Wednesday, if we have to start talking about it vocally, and throwing the blame, because you're getting blamed. Like the city of Montreal is getting blamed, but I'm like, wait a minute. Maybe it's the federal justice system.
It is. And we know that there's a lot of talk in Ottawa about cracking down and all of that. What I can tell you is last night the commander at Station 12 was there, and I asked that exact question because the police officers on the ground who I was talking to say, well, it's the same characters over and over and over again. We know that. And she was saying, well, we follow the rule of law. We put them into the system, and the system then deals with them, and then within weeks, sometimes they find them back out there. The one encouraging note was the more they do it, the harder they are on them. That being said, it shouldn't take 3 times.
Yeah, and sometimes it's 10 or 12.
Well said,
right?
Yeah.
So to me, one thing that I'd like to see, because I think sometimes you don't want to throw blame because you're worried of pushback sometimes, right? If you throw shade at another level, well, maybe they won't want to work with us. But I think like the public will understand, and the public wants to see if you've got say, hey, listen, this is a guy we arrested. he's been arrested, and you pull up the record and you say they're always out on the street.
Yeah.
Like, I think we need to shine light on that. If we don't talk about it, it's not going to get better. So I kind of would like to see that more.
I agree. And I think it's something that, I mean, it's facts, right? They literally, those are the facts of the situation. So there's nothing wrong with expressing your concern.
Just to wrap up here, on public safety security, other priorities that you've got on my top of mind?
There's a bunch. Quickly, I'll talk about the importance of adding extra cameras, because that's something that was also in our...
a question about body cameras. You're talking about body cameras, or you're talking about city cameras
both.
On the street? Okay.
We can talk about both. I'll quickly say that the plan is to improve lighting and cameras around town, like you see in other cities. Not a question of invading your privacy, but as preemptive.
Not China level, but some other city level.
Right. Okay. And the bottom line here, we also want to reach out to many people have put in their own security cameras, where we could ask them if they want to be part of the network, which would allow our eyes to see. More importantly, it's a deterrent. In terms of the body cams, absolutely, that was the promise. The question is, how do we, on the police officers, how do we implement it? You know, it's an ongoing issue, but Soraya has said, yes, we need them for police accountability and also, obviously, proof.
Leslie, good for a start.
That's it?
That's it. We're out of time. 2 segments for crying out loud.
Oh,
Leslie.
true.
You know how this goes.
I used to do 3 hours.
Yeah. Leslie Roberts right there from the City of Montreal Administration Ensemble Montreal. And I'm sure you're going to be hearing a lot more of Leslie over the next 4 years at least. Thanks so much for today.
Pleasure.
We're going to wrap up
next time.
Absolutely. We're going to wrap up the Elias Macko Show next.
I'm Dylan Playfair.
And I'm Tyler Smith.
We're putting loneliness in the penalty box by talking to some of our favorite athletes about the importance of friendship.
This is Bromance.
Bromance is brought to you by Charm Diamond Centers, proudly Canadian-owned and operated. Charm has been part of your love stories and bromances for over 50 years.
And you can find Bromance on the iHeartRadio network or wherever you get your podcasts.